Hello, everybody. And hi, Pia. Hi, Robin. Pia is from Denmark, and I'm from Denmark too. But we've never met, have we?
No,
And do you know any astrology or?
I know the basic, I would say.
Well, we don't know each other, so I'm just going to jump straight in and I'm going to share the screen so that everybody can see. And this is Pia's horoscope. And actually, the first thing I thought when I looked at this horoscope, I thought, okay, Pia's very musical because she has the sun in Pisces in the fifth house, and the Mars-Neptune. I thought it's very musical. And then I see she's got the piano and everything behind. I'll start talking to you straight, Pia, and I just talk for a few minutes, and then you can kind of comment on what seems to be right and what seems to be wrong. So there's a very dominant Mars because it's the ascendant ruler and it's in Gemini, and there's a very dominant Mars-Neptune opposition. So if we kind of start with that, I think this Mars is incredibly strong. It's like shows a deep intelligence and a great interest in, what's going on mentally with other people. And this is kind of emphasized, I think, by the fact you have a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. Now, that Mercury-Jupiter conjunction is really important. So I'm going to be talking a bit about that. So that also kind of shows this kind of incredible desire to expand your understanding and knowledge. But because Jupiter's in Pisces, what's really important for you is like this kind of Mercury's on this border between Aquarius and Pisces. So there's a need to go beyond the rational to understand really kind of mystical, mysterious, emotional, magical, and psychological dimensions. So you get that with the Mars and Gemini in the eighth. That's already a kind of real interest in psychological issues. I can hear my AirPods are kind of going, so I might have to just to hang on. I'm changing the audio.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
It's better now.
Okay, so yeah, so the kind of thing you might want to be working with is like, apart from the fact I think that you're really creative, so you should be working with creative things. You can work on a psychological level, you can work with children, you can creative writing. There's all sorts of sort of possibilities here. And I think if we look at the current situation, I reckon that over the last year or two, there's been kind of a lot of frustrations and some confusion about like the kind of direction to go in. And that sort of need to kind of navigate through a kind of foggy territory that's like really dominant right now, and it will be for another year or two. And that's partly because a couple of years ago, Neptune was on your sun. So, Neptune on the sun in Pisces makes you want to kind of discover the meaning or what makes life meaningful, And the indications are that you haven't quite found that yet, but what's important, I think, right now is like relationships, So like it's either a relationship with a partner or a relationship with a group, or that would be good. So a relationship with a large friendly group that would work really well for you right now. And I think that what's happening is you're feeling your way forward and a little bit unsure, but that you're about to make a really great kind of relationship or of some sort. I'm not sure if it's a working one or a personal one. So maybe you can comment on that so far.
That's very spot on.
Can you speak again?
Yes, I can see
Okay,
that.
I can't hear you now. Yes, so
Can you
comments?
hear me now? Is it okay now?
Yes, please.
Well, I feel very seen, and it's very spot on what you just, every word of it basically. But you wanted me to comment on exactly what?
Yeah, because I thought that right now, because I always work with the consultation chart, and the consultation chart is like showing you as Mercury. That's because the ascendant, and this ascendant in Virgo, that's right now in Denmark. The ascendant's in Virgo, you'll be represented by Mercury. Mercury's in Pisces. It's on the descendant, but it's just fallen into the sixth house. So all that kind of suggests that there's a kind of slight disorientation because that's Mercury in Pisces. But because Mercury's about to make the third trine to Jupiter, that shows some really good thing happening, which you've been working on for some time. And that's what I was asking about. So it's probably a relationship or a relationship with a group or something.
It's both, basically.
And what is that?
Meaning that I've just been through a divorce, partner through 26 years, so long.
So just got past the silver wedding anniversary then.
Yes, we just passed that. Oh, that ended, and I'm not looking to go into another relationship now, but I'm very interested in, like you said, I don't know exactly the words, but you mentioned something about nice groups, kind groups, being in
like an orchestra or something, that would be great.
I'm really interested in working with especially women, groups of women. Both yeah.
Okay, but I need to ask you a question about your ex-husband. Do you still have a communication with him?
That's a good question. We are on good terms, but right now I prefer that we don't communicate. That's the short answer, I would say.
Okay, and that seems to be a little bit in contrast to what I'm seeing here, so I just want to check. So have you been communicating a lot recently or not?
What do you mean by recently?
Well, actually, in the last 2 months.
No.
No, okay.
Mostly.
And is your ex-husband, is he a kind of a sort of, what do you call it? Somebody who knows everything, like sort of very strong opinions.
Yeah, yes, and very mentally strong. That's very correct.
Do you feel that in your relationship with him, he's the one that kind of makes the rules or decides what's right or wrong?
Yes, and I make him do that. So it's, yeah.
And why do you make him do that?
That's a good question.
Because I think he should do that, because, and the reason for that is Jupiter rules Mercury in Pisces, so he's the one that should be deciding things and all that. But as you seem to have divorced and all that, maybe that's not the big issue. I just want to talk about your mental capacity, which I think, and what I mentioned about this sort of ability to sort of think rationally on the one hand and think the emotional intelligence on the other, which is very, very pronounced in your chart. And the reason it's pronounced astrologically is kind of interesting, because if you look at Mercury and Jupiter in the chart, they look like in conjunction, aren't they? And although Mercury's in one sign and Jupiter's in another. But the thing is, before you were born, Mercury was in Pisces. And then it went conjunction Jupiter once, and then it went retrograde conjunction Jupiter. And, probably a couple of years after your birth, it comes on Jupiter again. That's a really fortunate influence. And there's an odd thing, because if you look now at Mercury, it's also trine Jupiter, but it's been trine Jupiter twice before. So it's like telling something about a reservoir of knowledge and intelligence that you have access to. And because it's like in the fourth house, you'd expect this to be like something to do with your family. And, so I'm wondering what it represents. Did you come into a sort of environment which was really conducive to your mental development? Or
I remember the age 9 very clearly.
Because of?
I had some experiences around not my close friends, but the way I saw life. I think I can mostly.
All right. And how did you see life?
I saw life very. Before 9 years old, I felt stupid, and after 9 years old, I felt more bright or clever.
Or wise, in fact.
Oh, wise, yes.
Yeah. And that feeling of being wise, that feeling where you've understood something, maybe other people haven't understood. Do you know that feeling?
Yes, exactly.
And when you get that feeling, you probably feel, well, I don't know, spiritually connected, perhaps.
Exactly.
Okay. So that feeling of spiritual connection that you get when you allow yourself to feel really good about your wisdom, that must be very powerful. Can you say something about that? Or?
I feel unstoppable.
Yeah.
My connection to the spiritual realm, the divine realm, makes me very strong, because I don't feel strong in another way in my human.
Well, I'm guessing that's part of the story with the Mercury Jupiter. When you're 9 years old, the moon's nodes come on the opposite, they conjoin each other, the opposite side. And that's often a kind of spiritual awakening period. But for you, it's more pronounced, much more. So that's sort of a wonderful resource. And that's the resource you've got right now, because this Mercury Jupiter is repeating itself. So this thing you've got ideas with working with women's groups. Is that what you were saying, or?
Yes, and I wouldn't call it working. I noticed that I use that word, but I'm not working with them. I'm just more, because it's
Communing with them, or what?
yeah, it's more like, it's not in a professional way.
So how does that actually happen? I mean, what are you doing?
Yes, it's mostly with before I was very ill at some point, and before that I was more gathering.
Okay, I'm confused. You're more gathering, or what?
Yeah, my English is not my first language, so I'm trying to explain.
Yeah.
What I mean now is that it's important to be focused on your question. It's important for me to be kind of in a circle of good women.
I see. And are you in a circle of good women? Have you joined some circle?
I have two friends, one from Germany and also one from Denmark, and we have, our community feels like my circle.
I see. And how long's that been going for?
2019, I think.
Oh, okay. That could be the Mercury-Jupiter trine. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, it sounds like it, but to me, it seems like you're already in something, which is absolutely great, but it can get better. And that maybe you need to be guided more by the people in that group. Yeah.
It makes sense also because I am communicating with many women, but I've not gathered them. I have women calling me both.
I see. So is there anybody helping you gather these women together?
No.
Okay, because there may actually be somebody that's worth, who maybe can organize it better.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean.
All right. Well, I was just exploring the Mercury-Jupiter trine there. So what do you think is the most difficult thing in your horoscope?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. My Chiron feels like
Oh, okay. Is that because of health issues? Or?
it's exactly.
I see. What was the health issue?
I had meningitis in 2010, and then I have had things with my eyes and with my ovary, and like things come.
And is that a dominant thing right now then? I mean, one of the things that dominates more than relationships.
No, right now I feel okay right now.
Okay. Anyway, I think that it's true that Chiron could create this kind of problem, but it's not the most difficult thing in your chart.
Say that I'm really, because I feel like I can handle emotional stuff, I can handle relational stuff, but it's harder for me to. So that's probably why I think Chiron and the sixth house and the health things.
Okay, but there are reasons for that. We'll go into them in a minute. What I wanted to say, like more predictively, is that because you've got a Virgo rising and Mercury's obviously in the sixth, it's just fallen into the sixth when we started this. It's obviously to do with the health. And because Mercury's trying Jupiter, actually, there's encouraging signs for everything to do with health, especially, I don't know what it's going to be, but generally, I think that good fortune is smiling on your weaknesses here so that there's no real issues right now.
It feels like that to me, that it is more like you said, relational, because
Mars, it's okay. It's got your Mars in Gemini in the eighth, so it's a bit like Freud. It's definitely really good at digging deep into the minds of other people, right? But because it's opposite Neptune, there's so many disappointments that can occur in this connection. And often, if you take your 26-year marriage, obviously the relationship with your husband, right? Would have been affected by this. And what you normally get with this is a kind of a sort of disappointment because you're able to see all the hidden issues, the flaws, that they can be very upsetting. And so there's a sense that you end up getting a little disappointed with the guy. You see things that you can't really live with, or at least it's difficult, you know. Do you know that feeling or?
Yes, I know that feeling.
And what specifically were you disappointed? Just come up with one thing.
One thing is that I saw that he was he is a very, like you said, mentally, but he's also very emotionally intelligent, and it felt to me, this is my experience, obviously not his, but my experience was that we could have had such a good relationship. Because we were in some areas of life, we were really good, a good match. So the disappointment goes to that I knew that it could have been some good because he was a very good man. But
Okay, that actually sounds like really confusing because all you come up with good descriptions of him, and yet we were talking about what was disappointing.
yes.
There's a residual disappointment. You're born with it, you know. There's always this feeling. There's a sort of inner feeling of being let down, or that somebody's not being able to reach you. You know, you could also say it's a bit like having the sun in Pisces in the fifth house. You want to be recognized, but the sun's in Pisces, so there's a sense of not being seen. You know, so I think the disappointment is like existential. You know, like you know. Yeah, you just not understood, perhaps. Do you know that feeling? Or?
Yes, misunderstood is really.
And what specifically how specifically do you feel misunderstood?
In general, or
Specifically, what comes to mind when you think about being misunderstood in your intimate relationship?
what?
Well, it could be sexual, for example. You might feel.
No.
Okay, great.
Not at all. Misunderstood.
Mars in your horoscope is your ascendant ruler, so it's like important. And Venus is your descendant ruler. And they're in harmony with each other. So that's actually pretty good for a long-term relationship. I'm still trying to work out what this Mars-Neptune is more specifically. And, you know, Scorpio rising, Mars in the eighth. Have you had some deaths in the family or?
I had some, but that's a long time ago.
A long time being like in your childhood or not?
In my long time ago, I was 14 when my grandfather died, and I was very sad when he died.
And
But
did he die of natural causes?
yes, he did.
Mhm.
I think the others is very, very normal deaths in.
So I still never found out, you know, I asked you specifically, was there something disappointing in the relationship with your ex-husband? And you said yes. And then we never found out what it was.
Yes, that's true.
Except that I said you probably felt you weren't seen, you know.
And I felt very disappointed that he wouldn't keep fighting relationship. I was disappointed in him for giving up. And of course, that's not the full story because he really fought for it.
Right.
But
No, you're talking double, you know, like he was giving up, but he was fighting.
yes,
Okay. How do you reconcile that?
I
I'm thinking, excuse me, I'm thinking that, okay, Mars is in Gemini, it's got this double thing. It's opposite Neptune. You don't even know when somebody's giving up or when they're fighting or you
exactly. That's one of my things in life that I can see both sides and see them both as true. So I can see that this relationship, he was fighting and he was giving up. I see both.
look at that. This is a big ask of the guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. But now you've given up, right? You're divorced now, right?
That's it yes and I want to say of course I gave up because I didn't have anything to grab onto. Yes. That was my feeling.
So if you have had something to grab onto, what would it have been?
Our dedication to each other.
So you were dedicated.
Yes.
Great. So I make these consultations quite short, so, and it's really good if you have questions. And I think one of the big questions right now, and I'm suggesting a question you might ask, it's like, because I suspect that life's a little bit confusing right now. You don't really know quite what direction to be going in. Is that true, or?
That's a good question to ask. Which direction to go in? Yes.
Right. So what do you consider to be your options right now?
I consider my options to be invisible and just go and be in my garden and enjoy life and
Right. Did you say the word invisible?
invisible.
I figured that was the thing with you, in your chart, wanting to be invisible. Yeah. And I think the sun in the fifth in Pisces, you kind of make your own pleasures and enjoyments. And maybe the garden's really nice, all the stuff in the fourth house, right? A sort of fruitful garden. Yeah, I can really understand that.
Creative, anything with yarn, with colors, music, dance, all these. This is enough.
Okay. So do you have a sort of specific question about anything?
Yes, that could be. That could be that. Is it okay for me to to not be visible, please?
Yeah.
To just live, yeah, in the, what is it called? Invisible world, and just with the elves and
Yeah, well, I think it's okay right now. Yeah, I think it's definitely okay to keep a real low profile right now, and that's okay for quite a while. But there are issues, because we're talking at the time of a full moon, and it seems to me that there might be some material. Okay, yeah, the moon's just been opposite Saturn. Hmm. So has there been some kind of economic restructuring or reorganization? What was that?
we sold our house and then I bought a new house.
Oh, so you bought a new house with a garden.
Yes.
I think that's good. I don't think you're gonna, I think that, there's going to be a relationship development
Okay, interesting.
because of this full moon coming up. The moon isn't full yet, so the moon's going to come opposite the sun and in Libra. That looks quite good for relationships. I'm actually looking at your progress horoscope now. It's the one on the right. And the interesting thing about the progress horoscope is that the ascendant's coming on Neptune. And that's something that's going to last for 2 years. So 2000, and you're going to get, it's very powerful now. So it's going to be more powerful in about 4 months' time. And then, 2026, 27, and 28 is going to be dominated by this Neptune. And that is good for being invisible, So you really need to have time to yourself to explore the spiritual world, the creativity, music, and that sort of thing, and that'll make you kind of happy, I think.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Why?
Because I feel pressure of people saying to me, "Oh, you need to be more visible."
So you can take a couple of years off.
Thank you.
And then there's another issue with this progressed horoscope I'm looking at, and that's that you've got Venus is progressing opposite Pluto. Actually, Pluto's at 5 degrees, so is another thing that's going to happen in a year and 2 years, And what's interesting about that is I'm looking at the horary or the constellation chart now, is that Venus is also moving square Pluto. So that's a kind of real indication of something. And I think that is a lot to do with cutting back on material things, It's like expenses maybe need to be cut kind of radically. Do you think that's true?
That could be true. I'm living in a relatively big
And I
house.
think also because I don't know if you have kind of completely severed the bonds to your ex-husband, but that Venus square Pluto kind of would indicate that you simplify your relationship life and cut out the past and embrace the future.
Yes.
And embracing the future is going to involve this thing with these women groups or these groups that you kind of like. That's going to be extremely beautiful. The contacts abroad, particularly.
Yes, that's
Okay. So that was me asking you to ask me a question and then answering it. Do you have any personal questions that some more specific or anything?
I think it was very interesting just to hear you say what is, especially in the beginning. So my question could be, what I resonated with was that you said that there was a lot of creativity, and you could see me doing different kinds of my creativity has a lot of channels, I would say.
Yeah, indeed. So yes, I think, and I think that, you're happy enough in your own environment at home, you don't have to. And this period of a couple of years is also a period of personal seclusion, which I think is going to be very spiritually enriching. So yeah, it's the home's nice. Did you have children? Or?
Yes, I have two sons, 22 and 19, two sons, yes.
All right, so they kind of doing their own thing now, huh?
They are doing their own things, but I have a very good relationship with them.
So I wouldn't be surprised, if the Mercury Jupiter in your fourth house kind of represents the two kids, because Jupiter rules the fifth house. So, that's pretty good. And that's very happy, it's a happy family thing, really. It's quite good. There's just a final thing I haven't asked about and wanted to clear up, because you have the moon in Capricorn in the third square Pluto, and that's really difficult. Well, it's quite difficult, and it seems to show a kind of a hard experience with the mother, or something like that. Did you find that, or
Hmm.
alternatively, it may have been in school, where you had a kind of a sense of being alienated. Yeah.
Or alienated in school, yes.
Right. How serious was that then?
I was being bullied. I didn't really notice it myself, but I felt like I was not being liked by my classmates because they thought that I was being the clever one in a negative way. They were making fun of me because I was the teacher's darlings and things like that.
All right. Well, I think it's okay to be the teacher's darling when you have a Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. But yeah, I think that was hard, I think that the schooling was hard.
Was
And I think one of the things that happens with Mercury in Capricorn, sorry, Moon in Capricorn square Pluto, there's a kind of hard front or armor that prevent, so you don't want to make yourself vulnerable to being hurt. I don't know. What do you think?
That's true. That's true.
So how does that express itself?
I would prefer to be not loved and hard than to try to be loved.
And what advice would you give for people to break through that?
If it was not myself, but other people,
If somebody wanted to have an intimate relationship with you and they came up against this, what advice would you give them?
I would say be patient.
Be patient, right?
I would say show me that I can trust you. And not just to talk about that, oh, you can trust me. Show me.
You can't trust her. You can't trust her. But, you're a little suspicious, don't you
Yeah,
think?
I am.
Right. So there may be trust issues then.
Yeah.
I think the Mars-Neptune is that as well, but I think it's a little bit too complicated to go into. But but yeah.
It's I trust people, and then it's mm, it's then I don't trust people.
But
And
isn't
then
it because you see behind the facade or something in you?
exactly.
Yeah, we'll stop doing that.
Oh, yeah. That's
Everybody's got a facade, so give them a break.
okay.
People are trying their best.
That's very good. That's very good advice because I get very mad at people when I see something different and they give me this facade. I'm like, come on, you can do better.
Well, that's just not fair. We all got to hide behind a little facade, but unfortunately, you have the X-ray vision yeah.
And that is a problem.
Well, give people a break, and especially your partner. Like there's a psychological issue here because there was a time when you were completely let down in your early childhood, or even in the pre-birth. So that's kind of got hard coded into your DNA, which makes you kind of pierce the veil. But too much really. Nobody wants to walk around in an X-ray environment.
I do see, and then I call them out. And that must be, I see it when you say it like that. It must be hard to live with someone.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks for now. That's great. If you've got any more questions, Pia, you're welcome to come. Otherwise,
I think it was very, very interesting.
okay.
One question could be, if I had to choose one thing in my life, what would you suggest?
Oh, that's easy. It's just behind you, isn't it?
The music.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at that. What kind of instrument is that on your?
Piano and my cello. I really like the piano. I play a lot and I've also composed on my piano my own songs. And the cello is more fun.
Right. So you got a great couple of years for doing a little bit of composing, I think.
Okay, that could be interesting. Yeah, I do that already. So yeah.
Okay, great. And I have got a little question here. Thanks very much, Pandora. And the question is the consultation chart the transit chart? Yes. So the consultation chart shows the exact transits for where the person is. So this one's made for Copenhagen, but if Pia had been in New York, it would be made for New York. So it's not just transits, is it? Well, it is transits, but it's every transit. And it places the transit in specific houses. So it explains transits. Mercury is in 4 in the 6th house, problematic health. Pia has this communication with groups or groups of women, which is the Mercury Jupiter. The moon has been opposite Neptune and Saturn. She's just in the 7th house. She's just divorced. There's nothing you can't answer from the consultation chart. Once you've got names and addresses on all these planets, these transiting planets, they're like people or things, And that's why I asked, was Pia's husband a kind of very knowledgeable? Is because he's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter and the Sun are square, and Jupiter square the Sun shows a guy who's like a little bit too. I know the Danish word. It's bedrevidende. What's that in English? He's got all the answers. Poor old Pia doesn't. That's the details come out in the consultation chart. So, okay, I've got another question. Oh, well, same question from Pandora. Is it the same as the solar return chart? No. I used to use solar return for years, really, until I started using the consultation chart. And the consultation chart, it's magic. And the solar return is, in my opinion, so difficult to interpret and not very precise. You can really give people advice with a consultation chart. But yeah, it's a transit chart exactly. And I've got another question from Jean. How do oppositions in a natal chart affect the balance of energies between her chart? Any direct relation between the 5th and 11th houses in her chart? How do oppositions in the natal chart affect the balance of energies within her chart? Well, I don't know. The main opposition is the Mars-Neptune, and I've got that we covered that pretty. It's a very complicated thing. We only kind of skated across the surface, so it affects the balance of energies in many ways because Mars rules the 6th house. It rules the Ascendant and the 6th house, and the opposite Neptune is the slight undermining of the physical health. There's so many repercussions from the Mars-Neptune there. How do you calculate the consultation chart? Very easily. It's the time you make the connection with the client in the consultation, not when they're booking or anything like that. You connect. Either they come to your office or you connect on Zoom. That's the time. Now, if they're late, if they're early, that's the time. So if you have an appointment at 4 o'clock and they come at 4:15, 4:15 is the time. And then you just make a chart for here and now. It's based on horary astrology, so you just make a chart for the moment. You can do it for where you are and then relocate it for where the other person is. So you get it like how the planets look exactly where they are. That's the important thing. And it's true. Anna says, I noticed there's a square between the Sun and Saturn in Pia's natal chart, but I don't see the aspect line in the chart. And that's my fault. I draw these aspects in because I hate all these messy aspect drawings on software. So I actually draw them in, and I forgot to draw the Sun Saturn, which was silly. And that makes the whole question of visibility more important, because Pia wants to be creative and recognized, but the Sun Saturn square means that she doesn't feel recognized, so that makes that's a sensitivity issue. And it's also pretty relevant because the recent divorce was Saturn was on the Sun, I guess, and square Neptune, and square Saturn. So it activated the sense of not being appreciated, I think. Yeah. And that's the thing which might be connected with the father earlier on or something like that. Yeah, thanks for spotting that. I apologize. Okay, great. I think that's it. Unless there's any more questions. Okay, well, thanks for everybody. Thanks very much for attending. And if anybody if you know anybody who'd like to be a live client, just write me an email. I'll be sending a link to the YouTube video in a few days. Everybody should have a nice Easter. Okay, bye for now. Thanks a lot, Pia. Great.
Thank you.